just went on a holiday in June on a cruise, and I have never been so confident in all my life. So much so, my husband actually says, Maggie, I don't know you. Who are you? Who is this person? Because normally I would stand behind him for a photograph, and instead I'm like, move out the way, you know.
It's my time.
Take my photograph.
Watch me now. Just watch me. Just watch me.
So guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Nurse Sarah Louise, and today we have another episode of Changing Lives. This is really close to me. I love this episode, and I'm sure you guys do too. I've got two lovely guests with me today, Jordan and Maggie, who I'm going to let them introduce themselves, tell them who they are, where they're from, and then we can crack on.
So my name is Jordan Sizer. I'm a senior area sales manager at Sciton lasers. Effectively, I look after part of our Northern UK teams and some of our London teams, and really work with a lot of our active and prospective providers.
Cool. And Maggie?
My name's Maggie Campbell. I live locally. I've been coming to Sarah's salon since 2017 when it first opened.
Yeah.
And I have two children grown up, and I am retired.
Amazing. The life, right?
I know, exactly.
Everyone's goals. So I'm just going to dive straight into it. How realistically, when we were treating you, it's been a bit of a journey.
Yes.
Can you tell the viewers where you started, what brought you to us?
Mm-hmm.
The really interesting fact about when we first met, you were doing some treatment already externally. And maybe let's touch on that a little bit.
I came straight away to see you because I had a problem with precancerous cells on my skin. I had some BCCs removed, but before I had them removed, I came to Sarah, and she just had so much knowledge that I was frightened to death at first, and she just sort of made me feel, Maggie, don't worry about it. She knew everything, absolutely everything, like you're reading the book. But I then had treatments that were recommended, which was peels, the cleansing, the looking after my own skin, especially when it comes to the sunshine, which I obviously haven't done. And onwards, since then, it's just progressed to everything, really. I've had my fillers. I've had nothing that makes me look totally different.
Yep.
Just nice and blended. But just recently, I've been using the laser, and I've had that, and it's just, I went on a holiday in June on a cruise, and I have never been so confident in all my life. So much so, my husband actually says, Maggie, I don't know you. Who are you? Who is this person? Because normally I would stand behind him for a photograph, and instead I'm like, move out the way, you know.
It's my time.
Take my photograph.
Love it. I've got to follow, like, guys, you know how off topic I get, and I don't want to have you here all day. So I want to get like some really nitty gritty questions out of you. So I've written them down because I want the viewers to be able to experience a little bit more awareness about the machine, how we use it, and your story and how it's impacted you so much, because you've just touched on that really quickly. When you had, let's take us back a little bit, let's rewind. What did it look like for you in your teen years to get you to, when we talked about BCCs, kind of what happened in those teen years? What were you doing to end up with all this sun damage, to end up with skin cancers? What was it that we were doing different that you do differently now?
I didn't use sun products at all. I didn't use them. It was as simple as that. We didn't have them. They weren't there. I don't remember going into a shop and seeing a sun cream and putting it on a list. I mean, people that I know have actually said that they used to put oil on, proper frying oil. You know, I mean, it didn't go that bad, but I always remember once going on a holiday to a caravan site, and my sister was actually peeling the skin off my back because it had gone that dry. You know, like when you see dry land when it's drought, it was just like that. It's just peeling it off. Wow. So the education we had when we were younger was just not there.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, so then that's obviously the reason why I've got the problem with the skin cancer.
Yeah. So it's nice to know that, because obviously my mum always talks about that. Back in my day, you know, we'd put carrot oil on, 5% SPF, and we'd bake ourselves. And this is an Australian talking. And I'm like, like, this is ridiculous. But these are now the consequences later down the track.
Yes.
Is the skin cancer. And this is one of the most severe skin conditions that you can have, you know, besides the melanomas.
Yes.
Obviously, which can be a little bit more invasive. but I think this is something that's really good for awareness. So I want to tie this into kind of the laser side of it, because recently we've had Sciton into SLA Medical.
Yep.
And it's been a game changer for our clinic, but equally for our patients, because it's given them a whole new treatment option. So kind of how do lasers work? Let's put it really simply, because even I'm not a laser guru, guys, but Jordan can simplify things just to make it really easy for you.
Yeah, so from the top line, when we look at light and lasers, we look at whatever the target is in the skin, we can coordinate the treatment to target that specific thing, whether it may be some kind of vascular concern, where it's hemoglobin or oxyhemoglobin based, whether it's more of a pigmentation concern with melanin, or even water, say an overall skin quality concern. So with any kind of light and laser technologies, we can really dial down into what the potential concern is for the patient in question and what maybe bothers them. And we can look to address that over a number of treatments or a number of different approaches.
Because that actually happened with me, because when I had my BCC removed from my chin, it was quite large and quite deep. So then it left me with a little scar that I've got now, which has been better because I've been using products to rub into that. But I also had quite deep veins here.
Sure.
And that was one of the things that the aim was, wasn't it? Well, this is what we're going to do. And it did actually reduce, if not sometimes make it disappear when I've got makeup on. These lines have gone.
So what were your key expectations? So if people are kind of relating a laser to themselves at home, because sometimes people are so scared of lasers. I mean, the typical lasers I know of back in Australia, they're quite ablative. So a lot of downtime, CO2 lasers, or, the real old modality. So what were your expectations, firstly, about the laser? Did you know anything about the laser? And what specifically on your face did you look at and think, oh, I'd love to treat that?
I didn't know anything about lasers. I didn't know that you could do them on your face at all. I wanted to target just little things, just to find the lines and the pigmentation, of course, and the veins. That was because you told me about it, what it did, what it could do. And I think you think to yourself, well, does it? It's like you look at something on the thing and it says you're going to do something, but does it really? And I think I only had the BBL first, BBL, and then I was just absolutely blown away with it. I didn't expect what I got. And if we're getting down to the actual treatment itself, I didn't have a problem with that. There was no pain whatsoever when the numbing's on, because you kept saying, didn't you, you're all right? And there was just nothing for me. Whether I'm just sort of...
You're tough.
Hardcore.
Yeah, high pain threshold.
Yes, but I didn't feel anything at all.
Yeah.
And I expected a worse downtime.
Sure.
And I didn't get that at all either.
So what was your kind of downtime like?
My downtime was after about day 2, it felt dry. The skin went dry. I just moisturised it like I was advised to do. And it wasn't noticeable. I thought that it'd be really, really noticeable when it was actually dry. But no one actually said to me, your skin's dry, like you would expect.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got a sister who's really like
Yeah.
in your face.
Yeah.
Right. I think that happens a lot when we talk to patients about downtime, especially. That's where a lot of fear often comes in when we talk about lasers as a general group, because when you hear the word laser for the face, it's often a scary concept, because you think, oh my goodness, is this going to make me not want to leave the house or anything like that? You have to go about your day-to-day business, whereas often we actually find that it's nowhere near as bad as what people potentially talk themselves into.
Totally agree. Not at all. I would, if I would have it again, I wouldn't worry about that element at all, because I know, and if anyone asks me, I'd just say, for me personally, I didn't feel like I had to not go out of the house, like you think, can't go out.
Yeah.
No, it was nothing like that.
What was my next question you've already answered. So it was more like, how do you put people's minds at ease when they're coming to get these treatments? And you've just almost said that anyway. So it's not to be scared, not to fear these lasers like they're hugely invasive. They're going to give you a lot of downtime and put you out of action, which nowadays, a lot of people work from home. So they've got a little bit more downtime than the typical. They can turn cameras off. But equally, everyone wants this treatment where you walk in, walk out, and I can get back to life. And that is the biggest, I guess, bonus of these machines.
I guess it is. I mean, when we talk about any kind of light and laser treatments, there's always a happy balance. so that, any kind of patient, no matter what their concern is, whether it's a particular concern or simply an anti-aging kind of mindset, is that they want the biggest result, but the least downtime possible.
Yes.
Whereas I think we find a lot with our kind of laser technologies is a happy balance with we get big results that obviously have a big impact on patients and their lives, but equally we balance it by not taking them out of action for weeks and weeks and weeks on end.
I totally agree with that. That's it.
There you go. That's in a nutshell, right? What for you? Let's touch on the more personal, emotional side because this is really important. For me, I noticed a huge change in not only your skin, how you came to us with the certain conditions and more so physically presented, but your emotional side. So I noticed a really big change in your confidence. And I know you've got a great story from your recent holiday that you've been on. Like, tell me a little bit about this. Has it been something in the past that you've been conscious of your skin and this has changed it? Like, what's been that journey for you and the most life-changing?
The worst thing I felt with on my journey, every time I looked in the mirror, I felt like I had my eyes were funny and also my nose. Honestly, all I see when I
Oh
look
my God,
in
I
the mirror.
remember. Do you remember every time?
There's a nose.
Sarah, I'm getting a nose job. Sarah, my nose.
I know,
Welcome to my
I know,
nose is
I
smaller.
did,
I'm
I
like,
know.
Maggie.
I know, where can I go? Where do you recommend? But that's all I saw. But I don't see that now. And it's dead strange. My sister says to me, because I used to go on and on and on about going to Turkey or going to find a decent, nose surgeon in Manchester even. And even thinking about paying all that money for it. But I don't see my nose when I look, and that's massive for me, massive. That I see it, obviously, but I don't see it as a problem.
Why do you think that is?
It must be because there's other things around it. Everything else looks well. It maybe everything's stretched, everything looks better, I look healthier. I feel better when I look in the mirror. I don't actually try and think, well, I'll squeeze it in or I'll put a peg on or...
It's because there was more pigmentation as well on your nose and it was more vascular.
I would have thought so. Yes.
Remember? Exactly. And maybe that was a trigger point for you.
It probably was because it was red. I used to find that it was always red because I used to think, is it, when years ago, you used to say, if someone had a red nose, well, they drink a lot.
Yeah.
And I used to think, people don't think I'm some sort of lush, because it was, honestly, it was really, really red. But I don't. I bet if someone could look at my phone, how many times in the years gone by, I've actually looked up how to make your nose smaller, how your face can look different without your nose so big. And they looked at it now for the last 12 months, you would find no searches on there. I think you really would. You'd look at it and you'd say, why should I stop doing that?
Yeah.
But I know I've not had a nose job, but I actually don't see my nose. It's crazy. But I don't see it. No, I don't see it. No, I see everything else.
Yeah. So tell us about your last holiday because this for you was life-changing. Huge.
Yes.
And you come running into the clinic.
I know, with loads of pictures.
And we're going to pop these pictures up for you guys because we're super proud of these.
Oh, I'm super proud of them and all because, like I say, I went on this cruise and I've had a horrible time. I lost my mum, so I was really looking forward to a good holiday. And I'd had my laser treatment done a couple of weeks before I went. And I was on this holiday, and this is a first. I've sort of briefly said it before. When I have photographs taken, I'm behind. I always hide myself behind my husband. And I was actually sat at a bar, and I said to him, take a picture, love, and I'm like this, and all dead proud and smiley. And he actually said to me, now for my husband to say, because he doesn't notice anything most of the time, he says, Maggie, I've never known you so confident ever.
Which is
and that was it. And when he said that sort of meant so much to me because, like I say, he wouldn't know if I decorated the living room, and changed the colour scheme. He wouldn't know, but he actually noticed me and said, you look fab and you actually are so different. It was just so confident.
Yeah. It's the one thing that often patients only realise post-treatment.
Yeah.
And you'll see it every day, no doubt, is that patients, if they see maybe a before and after online, things like that, people often say, oh, that's fantastic. They look amazing. But I'm sure to many patients out there, it's more of a internal result that it translates into, which it sounds like that was.
Yeah, it is for me. It was. But my sister as well. My sister, she sort of lets me be the guinea pig. I am always sort of having something done. Then she'll think, I think, come on.
Oh, I love that, isn't it? They're both of them come to SLA Medical, by the
But
way.
she actually says to me both times, the first time I had it done, and then just recently, she says, your skin looks amazing. Now, my sister,
Now, to get
you
a
know what,
compliment out is
yeah,
really
to get a
difficult.
compliment out of my sister, it is difficult because she'd rather take it away and think, well, what did you have done? I'm out.
Yeah.
Well, she said it on several occasions. Maggie, your skin looks flawless. Having said that as well, I've just been in the hairdressers, and the first thing they said was, you look fantastic. Let's go.
No, but there's so much light in that hairdressers, right?
Yeah.
Like they're the mirrors that you
Yeah,
normally
but you
cringe
don't
in
want to
front
say,
of.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's nice to see. That's the biggest thing I noticed in you is the confidence thing. And I think that's nice to touch on with lasers now and the ability that they have, but also equally pairing that with good skincare at home. We do a few facial fillers to replace your volume. So it's like a combination of things. But I would say the turning point or the game changer, it really was Sciton for your skin tone, texture, clarity, everything.
Without a doubt. I honestly, I notice when I've got some fillers in, I can see the difference myself, or if I have a little bit of a lift here, I can sort of see it. But when I actually have the laser treatment, it was just,
Absolutely. And what's so different about like the new technology as opposed to any other laser? So I know Jordan, Sciton, but this is not like, we're not going, oh, Sciton's the best. Well, it is the best. I'm like a bit biased. But realistically, the modality of the machine, the technology that you have available now, although it's such an robust company that's been around for so many years, which I love because I love evidence. Everyone knows I'm an evidence guru. I love a lot of literature. And this company has a really nice ethos because when you buy lasers and you go into this realm, you know, it's a minefield. You spend a huge amount of money. And I want to get results for patients. And that's why I've not had a laser because I could not really find one that suited my needs and really would fit in with my patients as well as their budget, their downtime. Kind of what sets Sciton apart?
It's really everything you said from the top of the company to the bottom, is that all of our technology is really designed around patient results and patient lives, so that we always feel like as a company, we are what we call a mamas and papas shop. So we are not publicly listed. The company looks after our own employees, but equally we look after our own patients. So we treat everyone as if they are our patients and they are at our clinic, which, you know, we get some fantastic before and afters, but hearing people's results and how it's really affected them personally on a very personal, almost private level is actually really quite fulfilling, to be honest. And it's something that we have some fantastic technologies that obviously you have definitely benefited from. And like you say, technologies have come a long way in the past, 10, 15, 20 plus years. And the technologies that we used on yourself through your treatment protocol of the BBL and Moxie, they are some of the most cutting edge light and laser technologies out there because we look to treat the skin on a multifactorial level. And what that really means is that for maybe whether it's a simple kind of patient or maybe a more complex case, we can really customize the treatment plan, much like Sarah already does with the rest of the portfolio, to really suit exactly what you are potentially thinking about and what you're really looking for in terms of a result.
I think you could see my results because you have got photographs of me before and after, and I'd seen them and I can see, my God, did I look that bad before? No, but you can see a massive difference in before and after.
I mean, I can't wait to see them because often we see patient results and often the after result, the patient, even if they might not be immediately have a different facial expression, you can tell they're
happy.
Yeah, they're happier. They're often smiling, and you
Faces speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
you say, "Don't smile." We've got to get the same.
Go to the same angle. They're like,
Yeah, and it's what you kind of it's the proof in the pudding, as we would say, is that yes, the results obviously going to be fantastic, but to see it almost through the eyes of the patient is the best part about it.
yeah, and that's the awareness side of it, is trying to spread that as well to make sure that patients are really confident to be able to get these types of treatments. You have a fantastic story actually, and I wanted to touch base on that from Sciton because there's a lot of treatments, a lot of skin conditions where people think they have no, care plan. There's no treatment. There is a roadblock, and they might feel, hey, I'm stuck with this. it's a lifelong condition. But you've got a fantastic one, and we'll pop it up for you guys to have a look at. But
Yeah, so we were talking about this a little bit earlier on, and it's a fantastic story that I came across around last year in 2022. Is that there was a patient goes by the name of Mickey in Texas in the US, and where our base is, where we're from. And Mickey had suffered from port wine. So port wine stain is a vascular condition that often people have from a very, very young age, where it's a collection of vessels, effectively. So the skin looks very red, quite inflamed, and this can bother patients, for years and years and years, decades. And Mickey's story is fantastic. It's because he had suffered from this for a long time, and he wasn't aware of what could be done. And his story is really, he looked in the mirror one day and he said, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to really do something for myself. And the fantastic thing is that he had what I believe was a treatment process of a number of BBL treatments to really look at the vascularity it affected his face. And it's literally changed his life.
the results are incredible.
thanks.
Like, do you know the booklet downstairs that we have of the before and after?
Yes.
We're trying to create our own little one, but I do love the Sciton images. But I love it when we do our own patients, real results, our own staff. People can see our staff, so it's firsthand. That trust level's there. But you can see the port wine stains, the birthmarks, and the difference that this laser is creating is just impeccable.
Well, it's funny you should say birthmarks because I had a birthmark here. Yes, I had a birthmark there, and that's actually because it was quite often when the sun was shining, it would come out.
Yeah.
That's what birthmarks do, don't they? Become more apparent, and it's almost like gone. In fact, it probably has gone.
Yeah, I can see
It's
it.
a bit like my nose. Well, that used to be the same time as my nose.
Love.
The beautiful thing is that often we'll see potentially, larger conditions that are maybe more obvious to, Joe Public or your colleagues or your friends, and it may or may not bother you as a person or as a patient. But often it's the small things that we come across day to day where, say if we had met a patient, they might talk to us about something that we have absolutely no idea. We didn't even notice it.
Right.
But it's bothered them
Right.
for maybe
Yeah.
months
Yeah.
and months
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
years and years. And it might be relatively minor to us, but a little change can actually transform.
It was like your
into a
nose.
big thing.
I couldn't see. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't think this is the way forward. I think surgical's really radical. And I was really honest with you.
Yeah.
But you were adamant. Like, I remember. And it was
I know.
just, and I
probably
think,
drove you mad as much as I did my sister. I did. I drove everybody mad with that, with my size of my nose. My husband was, I'm surprised he's not said, you've not mentioned your nose for about 12 months.
yeah. And I think, like, if there's anything that we can take away from this, besides the awareness, which is really nice, and the education, because I'm always about education, what are your words of wisdom to people that, may be suffering with something that they want to improve, that may improve their confidence, physically, emotionally, psychologically? What would you say as a patient?
Well, I'd have to say to them, this is what I would tell them straight away what it is that I've had done, because I'm sure they have noticed it. My friends have even said you look really well. I've got a friend who's got rosacea. Is it rosacea? That's it. Does it treat that? 100%. Yeah. So I mean, I actually thought, because she struggles terribly. She's in and out of the hospital at appointments all the time, managing it, and she doesn't like. It's like me. You got something in it. Your face is bright red. You don't want to go out. You're trying to put makeup on. It's not hiding. So she wouldn't know about you, but I would actually pass that along. I would pass that along the train. You must try this. Or if someone says, you look really well, Maggie, what is it? I'd say, well, I've had this done. To make me feel as good as it has done, why should I not help somebody else to feel as good as that? It's nice to feel nice. It is nice, isn't it? You work hard, you want to play hard, but it's nice to feel
Fulfilling.
nice. Extremely fulfilling.
Yeah, that's the greatest thing about this industry, right? Like, and I often say this, and I say it on all my podcasts, everyone will say, oh, you don't save lives anymore, you're not at the forefront of critical care. No, but guys, we literally change lives. And that is really empowering. And it's a journey, and it's an investment, as I always talk about, but it is something that it can't be replaced with any other feeling. And that self-confidence, like the amount of patients I've gone on such a journey with. They've cried, they've laughed. I know their whole life story. You know, we've gone from divorces to weddings. Actually, by the way, guys, Jordan got married on the weekend. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jordan.
And he's here today, right? He should be on a honeymoon. Like, what on earth? But he's here with us. But I thought I'd touch on that. So I literally see this day to day, but it's so nice because I love to share it. This is, you know, one of my favorite segments. So it's been nice to have you both here. Is there anything you would say, words of wisdom?
It's not being modest about wanting to improve yourself, because just because you want to improve something that really bothers you does not necessarily make it a cosmetic procedure.
Correct.
And I always tell any kind of patients, you would be astounded how many things can actually be possible in the general world of skin. Whether it's light, laser, there's a ton of different modalities. I would say if it bothers you and you want to make a change in your life, do it. Ask the question.
Yeah, ask the question.
See what's out there.
Like you didn't know.
No, ask me the question. Someone asked me the question. I would say to them, it's just when it came into this surgery, I thought to myself, you know, you think about it and you're not quite sure yourself. And I think if you've known someone who's had it done, like I had it done, I was over the moon. I think you've got then somebody like who would walk around the street and just tell people, you know, if it makes you feel better.
If we had 1,000 of you, Maggie, it'd be fabulous. And we'd stand you on every corner.
No, but if something makes you feel worthwhile getting up of a morning and putting a little bit of lipstick on and, you know, going about your business and you can feel as good as I do, then you do it. Do it.
Do it. And that there's no number on that. You know, that its price is irrelevant when value is there.
Exactly.
And that value is priceless. And I say this all the time, you know, if it makes you feel good, COVID taught us a lot of lessons. It taught us that things can be taken away really quickly from us. And equally that we can, you know, be more grateful. So I think this is really nice to share your story. But thanks, guys. If there's anything else you want to share with the audience, anything you wanna say?
Oh, I've said my piece.
Okay.
I'd like to say congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and now you can go on his honeymoon.
I can go on my honeymoon.
Yeah, don't get sunburned.
Out of the sun.
Out of the sun, SPF, and then back for a BBL.
100%.
That's not a Brazilian butt lift, guys, by the way. BBL is not a Brazilian butt lift. We need to get this straight. It's a Sciton broadband light, the only laser that I absolutely love. So I thank everyone for coming, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this segment as much as I did. If there's anything, any comments, drop them below, and I'll be sure to reply to them. Until next time, thank you so much.
Watch me now.